video here from Andy Pants Gaming, why Halo died. And I've been playing the campaign Evolved, the remake of a remake, and I only played the prequel missions. Because that's what you're gonna basically judge Halo Studios off of, because that's their own thing. The campaign itself has already been made. It's just it's just a fresh coat of paint on it, so you don't know what to expect from that. But the prequel missions is what they judge them off of, and I did not enjoy them. I thought they were kind of bland. They weren't really like balanced right. I feel like the enemy AI was like glitching and bugging out. The game froze on me. I got killed. So like I don't know if that's always been a Halo thing, but like 2 shots I was dead. So I don't know if that's something they need to balance out too, or maybe that's from the original Halos. I don't remember that though, dying so quickly like that. If like 2 shots from like a grunt, I'm dead. I'm playing on normal, but that's what we're gonna judge them on because that's their project. That's their baby, the prequel missions, and it has the worst EEI girl boss I think I've seen in a game so far with Williams or Davis, and it's just a cringe fest of terrible dialogue and annoying ass girl boss stuff. She basically like spits on Chief, like looks down on him, the guy who's the savior of humanity. It's just so annoying dealing with her missions. It was fun punching her, but because this studio right now does not have any projects greenlit yet, so I think they're waiting to see how this game does to see if they'll greenlight a next Halo game, like Halo. What would be 7? They had Halo Infinite, which they called it Infinite because it was supposed to keep going and going and going. They're going to keep adding on to it. That bombed. I think Halo 4 did okay, but it's kind of they took the whole lore of Halo and just fucking did whatever they want with it in Halo 4. It's the whole thing, but I don't think they're going to be around much longer, Halo Studios. They might be, but they've had some terrible management there. I think the leader of the studio was this girl named Karen Boone, I believe her name was. One of the most DEI hires I've ever seen. She was a black woman with purple hair. That's all I need to tell you. They had one guy work on a game who doesn't like guns. That's another sign of what the studio is. He doesn't like guns and he doesn't like violence, but he's working on the Halo franchise. So I think after this game, they're going to see, and I think it's only got like 25,000 people on Steam playing the game, which is a major flop. So I think this studio is kind of screwed, and I don't think they're going to be around much longer, or they're going to get really, really reduced significantly. So we got Andy's video here going over it. He does it. I actually watched this video earlier, studying Craig from Side Scrollers. He watched it too and like made a video about it, and he had some great points. So I want to watch it too because Andy Pants Gaming, he's does a great job in this video. So let's get to it.
Heroic, masculine, right-wing, pro-military, pro-America. Now it's fucking gay and worked on by theater kids.
It's
Campaign
true.
Evolved is so bad you have the level designer from Halo 3 saying stuff like this. The Halo devs have apparently decided that the majority of Marines should now be women. I'm fine with occasionally seeing a woman Marine, whatever, but we're
the cat was a great character.
Clown World
and you loved her.
Here.
This is just annoying
Campaign
bitch.
Evolved, which is a remaster of Halo 1, 343 thought it was a good idea to add 3 missions to the beginning of the game, centering around...
This is what I played so far, because like I said, this is what you got to base them on, because this is their game. The prequel missions are their game. The other main campaign has already been done. You know what that is. This is their product, and it was
this
bad.
Dog ugly Boldyke as she one-ups Chief.
Not bad, Spartan. I'm almost starting to believe the propaganda.
Bro, it's like they watched my video about Chief being a disabled trans girl boss and thought I was pitching an idea for a new Halo. Anyway, so what I've been doing the past week is going back and playing the first 3 Halo games, and what stuck with me was number 1, how pro-military and right-wing these games were, number 2, how much these games focused on religion, and number 3, how the entire
His name's John
lore of the
117.
original games was thrown away.
And
with
the 3, I believe there was, the villains in the game, they were prophets.
Halo 4.
I think in this game, when they talk that subtitles on, it doesn't say like Prophet Harmony or Prophet whatever. It just says like Harmony, just says the guy's name. But they're supposed to be prophets for I believe the Covenant race.
And that's what I
Very
want to talk
religious.
about in this video. Old school Halo would make your average little liberal soy cuck today
In my opinion, I think Halo Reach is the best Halo.
they piss their pants.
This guy's always
Be gone
crying.
from me, you soy boy beta cuck.
Legendary mode on Halo Combat Evolved would filter all these pussies. If that didn't get rid of them, we would troll the shit out of their mom in our Halo lobbies.
I'm the gun, fucking riot shield. What else am I? Oh, riot shield. I'm a pussy that use riot shield.
So what changed? And it's simple.
Called-
Halo
dude,
has
COD
been
lobbies
hijacked
back in
by
the day were
pronoun
great.
people. It's
Yes,
been
it has.
hijacked people who talk about racism and misogyny. You can
He's
see
not
this
wrong.
in the people
He's not
who work
wrong.
on Halo now. Here's a guy who hates guns working on Halo. Here's a dude
That's
who
what I
is
was talking
a
about
Fruit
earlier.
Loop working on Halo. Here's a black woman.
That's
who
the
was
lady who was in charge. She was
the
in
chief
charge of
of-
the studio. She was in charge. Melissa Boone. That was her name. Not Karen. She is a Karen. Melissa Boone. She left in 2025, but the damage is already done. Look at this shit. Dude, that's
staff
not
of
Halo.
at one point. And you see this showing up in the game itself now. The original Halo games were heroic and pro-military. Now you have Catherine Halsey and everybody questioning whether Chief is even the good guy or not.
I thought you'd be taller.
343 Studios or Halo Studios, nobody gives a fuck. Whatever
Nah.
they're called now, they obviously hate Master Chief and they hate
Say-
everything
they
he
say
stood
gay
for in the
studios?
original games. Never has there basically 43 Studios or Halo Studios, nobody gives a fuck. Whatever they're called
It does,
now,
it says
they
gay
obviously
studios.
hate Master Chief and they hate
Yep.
everything he stood for in the original games. Never has there been a worse downfall from OG Bungie to 343 Halo Studios. Bro, back in the day, Bungie, without having social media or anything, was obsessed with their game and wanted to make fans happy.
Yes,
It's
they did.
simple. Halo CE launched in 2001, and it had single player, co-op, and multiplayer on launch.
I think, yeah, it's all
on
one
big
disc.
dog, and it cost like $50
Campaign Evolved just as the campaign, nothing else.
million to make. The virgins and beta males who made Halo Infinite, the game cost $400 million, and all they could do on launch was a wet fart single player
Yeah.
campaign. But don't worry, the Pride armor, the Women's Day armor, the Black History Month armor were all right on time. Like,
Shit,
have you ever
nobody
thought
cares about.
that? Why do these gay ass studios have to delay their game, but they never delay Pride armor? They never delay gay
1 second.
ass Black History Month armor. They're just soft, dude. It's a bunch of soft virgin
It is.
incel
It
men
is.
who wear dresses. Fucking.
That's the problem with the
working
video
on
game
Halo
industry.
now.
There's too many DEI actors and Karens that got in during the 2018-2020 period when Vanguard and BlackRock were given every company, every big giant media company that has some kind of influence over the population, just billions and billions of dollars to hire these people. If doesn't matter if you're the best programmer, if you were a mediocre programmer or a bad programmer, but you had they them pronouns, you were hired over the guy who was better qualified just to get that Vanguard and BlackRock money. But when Biden got into office, rates went up, skyrocketed, because money used to be dirt cheap to borrow. Interest rates were so low, it was just, anybody could borrow money and pay it back with very low interest rates. But like I said, interest rates went up. So these companies stopped giving out these loans to Microsoft, PlayStation, Disney, and now those companies are left holding the bag because they're not getting any more money from Daddy BlackRock and Vanguard.
Now, it used to be military.
And we saw that with EA. They did so bad with Dragon Age Vanguard and some of their other games. They had to sell themselves to the Saudi Arabians and Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. Ubisoft did so terrible. They had to do a partnership with Tencent.
Based chat.
PlayStation, they got Concord. What was that? $400 million for Concord and Firewalk Studios. Concord lasted 2 weeks, shut down, and Concord and Firewalk Studios shut down in 2 weeks.
Ads, and now it's homos making this game. So anyway, boys, let's get into the main topic of this video because like I said, I replayed the first 3 Halo games and I want to go into 3 major points about exactly
I still love Reach.
why the
I think
Halo
Reach has the
games are
best
so bad
characters.
now. Number 1, the
I
original
love
Halo
everybody in
games made
Reach.
you feel
Their
like
deaths
a
are
hero.
so iconic.
343 turned Master Chief into a cuck,
You were the
a simp,
savior of
a moral
humanity.
gray
You're kind of like a
bad guy.
Jesus figure.
Number 2, the original Halo games were primarily military engagement video
They
games.
were.
The 343 games are practically anti-military games and completely get away from
God,
the
look at that
series
thing.
roots. Number 3, Halo has always been a deeply religious game. The 343 games stripped
I didn't
all
find it until later on. Like I was more in my teens and adult because I was young when these games came out. I played them all. Like I think 2001, 2004, and 2007. I graduated high school in 08. So towards like the end of like I really wasn't big into 2. I played 1 a lot, mostly the I never really paid attention to the campaigns until I got older. I mostly just played the like I would have LAN parties and me and my brothers and friends would hook up our Xboxes and just go around shooting each other with rocket launchers. I never was big into the campaign until later on in life when I became more of like a mature adult. I paid attention and I realized just how religious it really is.
Doesn't feel like a Halo anymore. So let's get into it. One final caveat here. When I talk about the good Halos, I'm referring to everything up to including Halo Reach. When I talk about the bad Halos, I'm talking about Halo 4, Halo 5.
I don't think Halo 4 was terrible. It was just not needed and very forgettable.
Halo Infinite.
5 sucked. Infinite was
new Dogwater
mediocre.
Campaign Evolve thing. Replaying Halo 1, Halo 2, and Halo 3 again, I realized what made
it's
these
also
games so
Bungie, when they were doing Halo, they had the best advertising in the world. The one where they had all the action figures, and you actually like this whole like diorama of them, and then it came to life at the end when his head looked and said like finished the fight and he's holding the grenade. You had one where it had like old veterans from that war who were like touring the museum. You had one where the guy's brother died and he signed up, and it was like ODST training, and it showed him like out in the field as a kid, and then the flash forward to when he was an adult and the war's still going on. Dude, Halo had the best campaign ever. Like
and
their
it's
advertising was the
feeling of
best.
being the hero. You are Spartan John 117, a Christian reference to the
Yeah.
Bible, by the way. You are a super soldier created by humanity to save them.
Yes.
Nobody can do what you do. You are humanity's greatest warrior.
Like I say, like a Jesus
And Marty
figure.
O'Donnell's legendary soundtrack specifically leans into this feeling. I think of the Forward Unto Dawn towering over you in the sky and dropping off tanks in Halo 3. I think of running headfirst into battle in Halo Reach.
I forgot the Reach
I think
commercial,
of mounting
yeah.
a final offensive in Halo 2. The developers at Bungie were simply Chads. They were actually
When they're
men.
running with the
They
bomb
cared
and it gets blown up and you pick it up and go continue the mission.
about
Dude.
things
And
like
the soundtrack,
heroism and
dude.
not being a little trans troony beta cuck.
They had the
Jump over
best
to 343
advertising.
Industries and you see grown men showing up to work in dresses. They're evil. They're demonic. They have mental illnesses.
Yeah.
And of course, you see this come across in their games. Halo 4 opens with Dr. Halsey essentially being called a war criminal for making the Spartans. Halsey is first mentioned in the book from 2001, but never shows up in the early games except for in Halo Reach. Reach never treated Halsey as a war criminal, but rather somebody who made hard decisions to save humanity.
The ends
So
justify the
again,
means, and it worked.
cuckening of Halo. 343 is attacking their own main character.
Noble team.
But it
Oh,
gets
man,
worse. Most of
I love
Halo
Reach.
4 is just Chief simping for Cortana. He has no real mission anymore. They're just
At least
trying to
Cortana
get
looks
back
like a
to
real
Earth,
woman
and
in
then
4.
they accidentally open a Forerunner artifact and out pops the Didact. The last thing Chief says in Halo 3 is "Wake
Make
me when you need me."
Iconic.
When you need me.
To me, this implies that Chief should be kept in cryosleep until there is a clear mission for him, and that never actually happened in Halo 4. What was your mission? Get back to Earth, fart around on some alien planet, and talk to the Didact with his boring new enemy type they made? It's
Yeah.
obvious Halo 4 was made by retards and pronoun people, but it gets even worse. The first time
Remember when Halo
Chief
4 came
runs
out, though? It
into
was a
other
great
Spartans,
looker
we
on the
get this
Xbox 360.
embarrassing interaction.
I thought you'd be taller.
Just in case you wanted more things to cringe about in Halo 4, I read online that the Didact is a metaphor for imperial dominance, racial supremacy, and
I believe
forced
it.
assimilation. Because all the creators of Halo 4 are gay and woke, you can 100% assume they are
Yeah.
talking about white people in
Yep.
America.
Yep.
But wait, guys, the UNSC is definitely
Bunch
meant
of
to be a
dirty
metaphor
communists.
for America in the first 5 Halo games, and
That's
in
what's
those games we
infiltrated
are the
the
good guys. So which is
video
it?
game industry.
Again,
Dirty,
343 is
gay,
so
woke
confused
communist.
and retarded because they made America the good guys in the first 5 Halo games, and now suddenly America are the bad guys. And the final thing I hate about Halo 4 is, of course, that they completely changed the lore. In Halo 3, there's a moment where 343 Guilty Spark looks at Chief and says something to the effect of, "You are the Forerunner,"
Yeah.
You are Forerunner.
implying that humans are the Forerunners and that they are not actually a separate race. And then if you look at all the Bungie lore dumps,
Stuttering Craig from Side Scrolls, who does the podcast, Side Scrolls podcast, they've had Marty O'Donnell on and talked about that, and that was supposed to be true. Like humans were the Forerunners. But instead, in Halo 4, they just made up some race to be the
in
Forerunners.
old videos, you find out, yes, Bungie intended humans
us
to
be the
the
Forerunners.
original Forerunners. And that would have been super interesting because on the one hand, the Covenant are against the humans and fighting the humans, but then they're finding out, oh wait, the humans are also the Forerunners we've been searching for, and the Prophet of Truth is hiding all this stuff from them.
Yes.
And it would have been a very cool plot device to have used in the later Halo games. But of course, 343 had to retcon all of this. They tossed out all of Bungie's lore, and they said, no, we're going to make the Forerunners a completely different race that look like Voldemort. So yeah, one of the biggest reasons Halo 4 is trash is just because they threw out all of Bungie's lore. And
I
they
hated
made
his
the
armor in
Forerunners
4,
this separate
especially the
race,
shoulder
and
pads.
nobody
I hated
wanted
them.
that. And the 343
Couldn't
games
stand
are
those
just
shoulder
dog shit.
pads. I just
Anyway,
didn't like
moving
them.
on. The Halo games are primarily games about military
They are.
conflicts. They're not necessarily only about Chief. The original ship attacked in Halo 1 was the Pillar.
I mean, they came out during like the Iraq War, which was like it was a long time before Americans saw an actual war before that. What was the last war? Maybe Vietnam in the 70s before we actually went to war again as a nation.
Bravado,
the
a
Iraq War
military
in
ship.
2002,
you do
I
reconnaissance
believe.
for the military the entire game. Halo 2 opens with the Chief being awarded medals for his service. He is a war hero. Halo 3 ends over a patriotic speech as we see a memorial to all the fallen soldiers in the game. Halo Reach is primarily about the bravery and dedication of 6 Spartans as they gave their
Noble Team
lives to
6.
stop the fall of Reach. The original Halo games are unabashedly pro-military.
They are.
And as we know, the military makes leftists, libcucks, and troons seethe. But
It's true,
moving
it's
on, we
true.
know that the military framing in the good Halo games is the perfect foil for Master Chief. The UNSC soldiers and all the military stuff in the Halo games have always grounded these games and made them feel more real than Pixels were able to. Because the 343 games were made by feminists and gay men who think the military is icky, it's
Gay men who
obvious
think they're
that
women.
the military's role got severely downgraded in the 343 games. So in summary, the
Yeah, they
later
did, if you
Halo
think about
games
it.
do not feel like Halo to me because they massively downgraded
I hated
the
that character
military
so much, dude.
conflict aspect of all
God.
this. Halo 4 is about having retarded and esoteric conversations with the Didact. It's boring as hell. Halo 5 is about Cortana becoming the bad guy and you fight
Yeah, I
this
don't know
gay
why.
loser called Warden Eternal. In Halo Infinite, you fight a bunch of brutes called the Banished, and these guys are so boring that I can't tell them apart. Do you want to know why the 343 games don't feel like Halo? It's because the
not.
war against the Covenant and then the war against the Flood are the primary plot device
Yeah.
in the good Halo games. The later games
Dude, remember
were
playing the original Halo and like you're fighting the Covenant, and at the end you're like, what the hell are these zombie creatures? The Flood, like you just discovered them.
such
It was so
retarded
awesome.
failures because they got away from being about a military conflict.
Yeah. Those are the prophets. But I think in
All right,
campaign
my final
Evolved,
point, number 3,
they don't
Halo
call 'em
has
prophets, they
always
just call
been
'em, like,
about
'cause I had subtitles on. I play. I have to go back and look, but it would say, and instead of saying prophet, harmony, or prophet, truth, or whatever, it would just say harmony, truth. It didn't say their prophet name.
religion. Is
wonder-
there anything that
gotta check
Reddit
that.
atheists and pronoun people hate more than religion? And this explains why the 343 games have almost all of the religious content taken out because leftists
'Cause they're dirty
find religion
communist.
icky. But the truth is that Halo 1, 2, and 3 are deeply focused on faith and
They
religious
very
belief.
much are.
Halo 1 opens with a choir singing, the prophet of mercy, the prophet of truth, the prophet of regret, all biblical concepts. John 1:17 is a Bible reference.
Yes, it is.
The covenant is a Bible reference. The flood, also a
Yep.
Bible reference. Marty O'Donnell indicated that the original
Yep.
name for the covenant was the dervish, which would have been a direct reference to Islam. So
yeah.
if you look at the original Halo trilogy, it is clear that these games are about religious fanaticism
Yes, it
versus
is. It
America.
very much is.
The UNSC represents the USA, and the Covenant represents the Middle East conflict. The Prophet of Truth is clearly a jihadist.
My feet tread the path. I shall become a god.
The The whole idea of activating the Halo ring is a metaphor for suicide and these lunatics sacrificing themselves for Allah. The Halo ring is essentially a way to commit suicide by wiping out all life in the universe and going on the quote great journey. But over the course
Damn.
of Halo 2, you see the Arbiter's metamorphosis from a true
start to
believer
question the
to
religion.
somebody who actively questions his religion.
Yep.
You could say over the course of the first 3 Halo games, the Arbiter goes from a radical Muslim to a moderate Muslim who doesn't believe religious suicide is the answer anymore.
True,
This is why the Chief and Arbiter are able to team up and take down the Prophet of Truth and prevent the annihilation of the universe by these religious fanatics. So it's not true to say that Christianity is fighting the Covenant in the Halo games, but what is clear is the Human Covenant War is 100% a metaphor for the Iraq War.
I
which is
never
the
played the campaign for 2. I gotta
conflict
change
our
that.
country was engaged in at the time. Another interesting thing here is that Master Chief's name is John 1:17. In the Bible, the verse John 1:17 reads as follows: "For the law was given through Moses. Grace and truth came through Jesus Christ." Master Chief is what is known as a quote type of Christ. He does what humanity is
figure.
not capable of doing. He is the ultimate soldier, the ultimate man, the ultimate Giga Chad. In the same way Chief saves humanity from suicidal jihadist Islam, Jesus Christ saves humanity from
By
their
dying
sins
for our
by
sins.
dying in their place. So it's easy to see why all religious content was removed from Halo 4, Halo 5, and Infinite. And
It
this
was,
is
you're
yet
right.
another reason why Halo 4, 5, and Infinite do not feel like Halo games.
don't, man.
Halo
They
has
just
always
don't.
been deeply religious and deeply steeped in
has.
metaphor. So what did the woke retards at 343 do instead of the religion? They basically brought in a bunch of boring
They
lore from the
did.
books and talked about that instead. Nobody cares about Warden Eternal. Nobody cares about the Didact. But because woke leftists are completely detached from reality, they thought somebody would give a shit about these characters, and we never did. The only hint at Halo 4 and 5 being a metaphor, like I said earlier, is that number one, Chief is the bad guy now because Halsey kidnapped him from his parents and made him a child soldier and therefore bad. Number two, people like the Didact are white colonizers, and to update the language, they would probably call him a fascist today. I mean, these lunatics think the Didact represents America, probably. So
Probably
boys, in
does.
closing, is it any wonder everybody freaking hates Halo now? The original Halo games were deeply Christian, deeply religious.
They were, man. They were
essentially
fucking
military
great.
games about the military, and Chief was the ultimate hero.
He was.
343 and Halo Studios games are dog shit. They're completely
This is-
anti-religion
I hate
and
that scene.
anti-faith.
Oh my
they are
God.
anti-American, and they somehow make Chief the bad guy. One final note about that: I'm sure people will say, "Oh, well, the Spartan program was mentioned in the book in 2001, so it's always been there." To that, I would say yes. But do you seriously think that OG Bungie would have made Chief the quote bad guy,
No.
or the Spartan program
He was a
responsible
savior of
for,
humanity.
quote,
He was a
war
Jesus figure,
crimes?
Masonic
Get out
figure.
of here. Also, Bungie made it clear that the
He's
games
what- he
are
was what we
canon
couldn't
and
be.
the books are not canon. The games always took precedence
Whoa,
over the
something
books.
just came
But
up on our
anyway,
file or
in
something.
closing, the whole reason Halo works as a game is because morality is so black
My
and
alert
white.
box.
And I
Give me
think
one
that you will
second.
find in real
Behind
life
everything.
morality
Thank you for the
is
follow,
still
though, buddy.
very black and white. Woke people and pronoun people
I'm
are
golden and white.
evil satanic retards. They worship Satan. They are trash, and they represent the flood. The USA, Christians, and all of humanity who value life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are the UNSC.
Yeah.
All right, boys, I'm going to get out of here.
Andy Pants went over this. Great analogy. Great. Made a lot of great points, man. The original trilogy was very, very steeped in religion. Like you said, you had the Covenant, which was the kind of code for the Islamist extremists in the Middle East. The UNSC was America. Chief was like this Masonic Jesus type figure who was the best of what humanity offered, everything we couldn't be, and was our savior and fought for us. You have the prophets who were wanting to get the Halo ring to commit a giant mass suicide to go on the great journey, aka go to visit, see Allah. I'm trying to say in a way I can't get flag. Go to see Allah, a way of bringing everybody to see Allah. The prophets are trying to do, and then you had the Arbiter in 2 start to question his beliefs, question his religion, and start becoming more moderate instead of extremist. And the new ones are just, I think, dude, 4 is so unforgettable. I can't remember 4. I just remembered it was pretty. That's the only thing I remember from Halo 4. The graphics were amazing on Xbox 360. 5 was, I don't even think I played. I played through half of 5 and stopped because it was just so boring and just dull. Infinite, I played a little bit of. I got pretty decent into, but again, it was just boring and dull. And I got Campaign Evolve sitting right here on the PS5 Pro, which is crazy to see. But I played the prequel missions and they were not good. And that's an indication of what the studio has fallen to. They're not going to be around much longer because their games have. It's crazy how, dude, Halo was the thing in the early 2000s. You had Mario, you had Sonic, like these big name IPs. Halo was right there with them, if not bigger at that time in the early 2000s. Like Halo put Xbox on the friggin' map. And now it's just dead. They have these terrible, terrible DEI activists, woke activists, communist activists in these studios. Except you have the one guy who doesn't like violence and doesn't like guns working on Halo. You have Melissa Boone, who was an African woman with purple hair running the studio. You can only imagine how crazy it is, how far from grace this campaign, this franchise has fallen. It is insane. It's not looking good for the Halo studios either. I think they're going to be either facing very, very big layoffs coming up or just shut down altogether. I think, in my opinion, what they should do with this franchise is give it to Ed. Let Ed create an awesome Halo game. I think that would be perfect for the franchise going forward. But for now, I'll leave that there, guys.